Good day, boys and girls. It's good to see you. I'm glad you joined me today. Thank you for joining me. I thought I'd talk about um, it's spring, and in the springtime, we see lots of plants growing. And some were planted long ago, and then some people they take seeds and they plant them in the dirt, the earth, the soil. The dirt is called soil. They plant them in there, and then they begin to grow underneath, and they grow into lovely plants, flowers, and all. I wanted to share with you a special plant that we see starts when it reminds me spring is here, and it's a yellow flower. It looks like this. Have you seen these before? They're called dandelions. And I brought a poem in that's called Dandelions. I drew a bunch of dandelions on here. Dandelions. Are you ready? The dandelions are out again to show their yellow faces. They're popping up in gardens, lawns, and more surprising places. Though dandelions aren't planted, they find a way to grow. And when their flowers have turned to seed, what fun they are to blow. This was written by Vivian Gould. She wrote this poem about dandelions. Have you seen dandelions around? They're kind of neat. They do pop up in all kinds of places, and nobody stood there with a shovel and buried them in the ground and planted them. They plant themselves in the earth, in the soil. Remember, if something's going to grow in the soil, we need the soil, a place to plant it, and we need sunshine to help it grow, but it also needs rain to help it grow. That's why we see a lot of new plants in the spring, because we get lots of rain and the sun begins to shine lots more days and we get lots of plants. I have a story today about dandelions, and it's called Dandelions Are Growing. This is a brand new dandelion here. You can see it's a young dandelion. This story is written and illustrated by Ruth Dale. She wrote the words and she drew the pictures, and these are interesting pictures in here. Okay, dandelions are growing. Dandelions are growing. Written and illustrated by Ruth Dale. And you can see, here's a dandelion. It looks like the little seeds that come from the dandelion everywhere. This is interesting because it is not black and white, but yellow and black. Look at this picture. Over there in the grass, see that yellow golden gleaming? Look! They're everywhere. In the east, in the west, north, and south. Have you seen these plants? These dandelions? They're everywhere. As I went on my walk this morning, I saw them everywhere. Look. At the seashore, in the mountains, on the edge of fields, near railroad tracks, in sidewalk cracks, dandelions are growing. They do. They grow everywhere. Seashore, the mountains, edge of fields, railroad tracks, even in the crack of a sidewalk they grow. Spring after spring, summer after summer, fall after fall, year after year. They appear. No one takes the seed and plants it. No one digs the ground and makes it. No one puts up strings and stakes it up. No one makes a sign, keep off, please dandelions growing. Nobody does any of those signs. Plants it, stakes it up, strings it up, breaks the ground, puts a sign, please keep off, dandelions grow. No one does that. They just grow all over the place. Then, why so many everywhere? Why are there so many everywhere? Have you ever thought that? Why are there so many? This is why. The dandelion begins inside of every seed waiting with its parachute for a lively wind. Here's the seed, here's its parachute. And they kind of wait around for a lively wind, a wind that blows them. It's a growing story that begins inside of every seed. One day, the seed with its parachute takes flight in a lively wind. So one day, one of the seeds, every seed, but one of the seeds takes its parachute and goes out into the wind, flies around. Have you seen them flying in the air? Sometimes its flight is short. The seed gets caught in a fence, on a bush, or by someone like you. Has one of those seeds flown by you? Or the seed sails high and far, blowing away out to sea. It may float along for months of days, steady and strong, till it comes to land. So some have a long trip, some have a short trip. That seed with the parachute on it. Then, if there's a bit of soil below, a little bit of dirt below, and the sun and air above, and drops of dew, and sometimes rain, in time the seed begins to grow in the dandelion way, both up and down. So the seed lands and gets in the soil, and it gets rain, and the sun shines out, and it begins to grow up and down. See what they're talking about here. Up grow the seed leaves. Here they are. And down grow the root, far, far below the touch of heat or frost or drought, way down where it's safe. They make a very long root. It's very safe for them. It doesn't get real hot there. It doesn't get real cold there. It's safe for them. It's not too dry. Then true leaves grow, and it spreads around and hugs the ground and tastes as bitter as the root. So it has leaves here that taste really bitter. That's why rabbits on top and nibblers below the ground don't find dandelions delicious. They leave them alone to grow. So the leaves are bitter, the root is bitter. So the animals leave them alone. The buds come next. These are buds. Here's a bud. On scapes that hold the garden blossom high, the scapes are tubes so strong, they're just like tubes. So strong, so tough, they bend in the wildest winds, then stand up tall again. So they'll bend down, they can move back and forth, but those tubes, the stem in other words, holds them up tall again. And here's the root. This would be the ground right here. 2 rows of petal leaves in green hold the blossom in between. Okay? 1 row faces up, the other down. They form a flower fence that keeps visitors from climbing to the blossom. When the sun is out of sight, One row rises up. It closes round to keep the flowers safe at night and guards them well from wind and rain. So they open and shut, depending on what time of day it is. Guards them, it keeps them well from wind and rain. When a dandelion opens, bends, when a dandelion opens, bend closed and see the hundreds of tiny flowers. They make each blossom look so bright that butterflies and bees come and sip. They sip the pollen. They drink from them. After the yellow blossom is gone and the time is right, the green petals close up around. All is safe. So after it's had a nice yellow blossom, it closes up, while the seeds grow ripe inside. So it had that yellow flower and it closes up, and these seeds that are inside of it grow ripe. And you know what happens? One day the head and scape rise up again. The petal leaves turn down. Each parachute opens over a seed, ready for the wind, or a hand, or a breath, or a bird to carry it away. So they open up each parachute. So whenever you see a dandelion, another is on its way. For as one goes to seed, another one comes to bud. On each plant, at almost any time, are scapes, the blossom, the blooms, the seeds, the buds, and they're together. All of them. You might see the seeds, you might see a blossom, you might see a bud, all on one plant. One after another, dandelions bloom and let their seeds blow, so that year after year in the east, west, north, south, at the seashore, in the mountains, or on the edge of the fields, near railroad tracks, in sidewalk cracks, everywhere, dandelions are growing. Have you seen these dandelions? I'm sure you have. When I went on my walk today, I did pick some dandelions, and I thought I would do this poem again. And again, I want to show you my dandelions I picked. I saw this kind of dandelions, and then I saw this kind of dandelion. These are the older dandelions. And let's do the poem again with our dandelions, okay? The dandelions are out again to show their yellow faces. They're popping up in gardens, lawns, and more surprising places. Though dandelions aren't planted, they find a way to grow. And when their flowers have turned to seed, what fun they are to blow. And so I thought what this poem is saying is they grow in lots of places, more surprising places, these dandelions, but they eventually turn to seed. And when they turn to seed, what fun they are to blow. Oh, those aren't quite ready to blow. Those have turned to seed, but they're not quite ready for a nice wind. But here's one that has started to blow. And maybe you have blown dandelion seeds. And those seeds, remember, can travel all over the place, maybe real close or far away, and eventually they plant themselves. And that's why we get so many dandelions. I have one more thing I wanted to share with you, and this is really an up-close picture of a dandelion. See, one of the friends of a dandelion is the bumblebee. The bee loves the dandelion. He likes to get the nectar from the dandelion. Yes, he does. That's our dandelions. And there are lots of them in many places, more surprising places. Well, that was fun today. I'm glad you stopped and learned a little bit about dandelions. Until next time, here's your air hug. Have a good day. Bye-bye.